everybody. So this is Haven, and I'm going to continue part number 2. And part number 2 is going to be about navigating and getting around in Maya. But also, let me show you about the projects, because Maya is a project-based software. Everything that you do gets stored in a project, and I'll explain to you a little bit about what those are in a second. The first thing that you need to do is that you can create a folder on your desktop or wherever you like to. And I'm going to go ahead and create in my Unity Basics videos here, I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. And I'm going to call this one First Project. And, oops, if I spell it right, that would be nice. So here is my first project. This is going to be what I'm going to be working on and things like that. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to move that to the side for right now so I can show you something. First of all, if you see, if I click on it, it's empty. Okay? So now we're going to come into Maya. And when we first open it, the first thing that I always want you to do is to create or set your project. So if you come up here to File, and you come down to where it says Set Project, you're going to be guided to finding that folder. You can come here and you can browse for it, but find that folder. And so here I have my first project. I can click on that and I can hit set. And let's see. I'll just create a default workspace. I did not actually expect that window to pop up. Sorry about that. But if it does, just create a default workspace. And now you can see here, remember that first project I just created? When I click on this, you can see here's my workspace, and I'm going to have a bunch of folders in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side again. You can also come in here and go to Project Window. And actually, Project Window is something that you should do first. So here's First Project, and that's what I want to have my project named. So I'm going to hit Accept. Alright, and now if I come back to that window again, do you see First Project where I had the workspace in here? When I click on it, I now have all these subfolders. And anything that I do inside Maya, when I save it and such, it gets put and sorted into these folders so I can easily find the things that I want to find. Or if I want to send these out to somebody or anything like that, I can do that easily from here. This allows you to take your projects with you. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this because that part's done. So always when you come in, set your project. Well, you should have a project created first. So go to the project window, make one, and then set that project as the one you want to work in. Okay, so what we also want to do, one second. Okay, so as we're here inside of the main window, the viewport, and this is where we're going to be doing all of our work, we need to be able to look around and get around in here. The first thing that we can actually do is make use of what's called a view cube. Now, right now you don't see it inside of this window. Usually it's up here in the corner. The reason that you don't see it is because in our, let's go back to polygons here. That actually doesn't matter, sorry. I just like to be in polygons. But if you come down here to the renderer button, you'll see that we have 3 different kinds of rendering. And the best rendering that we can have is the Viewport 2.0. But in the Viewport 2.0, you can't see your view cube for some reason. So I'm just going to go to Legacy High Quality Viewport. And there you'll see we have a view cube. You can do a little bit of customizing with this as well in the preferences. You can turn off this compass down here if you want to. But basically how this works is you just click on the name of the face and it will set you perfectly to that view. Or you can click the sides to get a corner view. click the corners here to get a down angle view. You can work your way all the way around the cube as much as you want. But also you can see that you have this as well, these two little arrows. So when you're, say, in top view and you want to rotate it clockwise or counterclockwise, you can click on these here and it kind of snaps. Okay, you can also come here, click on this, and it will set you to home. So basically the default way that you're looking into the view here. So other than this here, you can get away around with your mouse and your keyboard. And I will suggest that if you're going to be using Maya or any kind of 3D program, always get a 3D mouse if you can. The third mouse, preferably the best working kind, is when the third button is actually a middle mouse button and it's a scroll wheel. They're really inexpensive, and that would be the only thing that I would urge you to go out and purchase for working in 3D. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a cube in here for now. And what you can do is you can make use of the shortcut key, or the Alt and mouse buttons to navigate. So if you hold down your Alt or Command key on a Mac, you can left mouse click and you see that you can orbit around. So you can look at it from all different angles. If you use Alt in your middle mouse, you can pan around. So you can move this up and down, side to side, in any way that you want to, according to your camera view, your angle view of how you're looking into the scene. So if I'm looking into it from the right, you'll see it just panning around. The third thing that you can do is your Alt and your right mouse button to dolly in and out. And it's called dolly because you're actually moving the camera. You're not zooming into the item or object. Your camera is actually moving closer to it. For those of you with the scroll wheel, you can actually scroll with it. And I think that to me, the scroll wheel works the best. When you use the Alt and right mouse button, it's done in short spurts or little spurts of movement. So the scroll wheel works a lot better, if you ask me. Now, another thing that you can do is, let's say you have nothing selected in your scene. If let me just go ahead and move this over for a second. So you have nothing selected in your scene. If you hit F, F is like for framing or focusing. So you hit F and it puts the whole scene into focus. It frames around everything in your scene. Now, we only have a cube, so this is actually going to look like the exact same thing. But if you have your cube selected and you hit F, it will frame in on the cube or focus in on the cube. So like I said, it looks the same because that's the only thing that we've got in there. Another thing I wanted to point out to you was menus. They are fun, and you're going to get a few of them when you don't expect to get them. The first time that you might get a menu is if you go to tap on your space bar. Now, we tap on our space bar in order to switch our views, okay? So this will switch between the last one that we selected and the current one that we're on. So as you can see, when I tap, it goes between this one and this one, which is actually supposed to be that. There we go. Alright, and then you can easily go back and forth between them. But you see, if you hold your space bar too long, you get what's called a hot box. And that's this, and it disappears when you let go of your space bar. So we'll talk about that in a minute. The most useful time for the space bar is when you're going between these two different layouts. The only thing is that when you're in this layout and you hit the space bar, you're brought I do not know why it's automatically taking me there. It should be taking me here. So I'm coming to this layout, and if I want to go back to this perspective one, I have to hover my mouse over the perspective window here. Okay, and if I want to come back to this view here that I'm working on, and this is the front view, all right, and this here is from top to bottom, and then this one is from left to right. So if I want to go into any of these views, I just have to click on it, and that's the one that's brought up for me to work in. And now this one, you'll notice that you can't cam around in it. You can pan around and you can zoom in and out, but it's locked into that orthogonal type of view. It's locked into the side view. Now, how do you know it's the side view? Well, if you look down here at this little icon, you see the Y is going front to back, and you see the Z is going left to right. Well, I have this set for a Z up build, okay? When you first open Maya, it's going to be a Y up build, but mine is set for a Z up build. So, since my Z is laying down, and I know that my red little dot here is facing me, I'm looking along the left to right side. So this is a left side view. Now, I don't want to confuse anybody, but again, with this Y up and Z up, if I come back and I come into my 3D view here. Oh, actually, I didn't set it up this time. I turned it off because I was re-recording this tutorial, so yeah, I set it back so that I could show you how to do it. So here this right now is Y is up, okay? And a lot of times when you're modeling, you want a lot of programs use the Z up build. So what we can do is we can go to Window and come down to Settings and Preferences, and then to Preferences. And if you come to the Settings notch here or tab, you're going to see World Coordinate System. Up is Y right now. I like to have that as a Z up. Now this will stay put. This will not revert itself when you close and reopen Maya. So that's good. The next thing that I wanted to show you is the working units. And I'm going to move this so you can see it a little bit better. Right now it is set to centimeters, and a lot of things that you interact your builds with work with meters. So you can come here and you can decide to build in meter, and you'll see what happened was that my grid got a lot bigger, or seemingly bigger. It's now set to work with meters instead of centimeters. This, however, will not stay put. So when I save this, it's saved, but it's only saved for this project. It's not saved in the overall Maya. So when I close this and reopen it, I will have to reset that again. But when it's part of your project, it's okay. And you can see how small my cube looks now compared to what it was when I was building in centimeters. So yeah, that's a little bit of a, a funny thing to see. Okay, so we're going to call it a quit for this program or this session. Well, maybe not. Let me show you one more thing before we go into the next one, and that is the ability to look at this in different different modes or different. Actually, it's called shading. The first one is called just standard shading. You see the plain regular old. Let me just scale this up a little bit real quick. Okay, that's just regular standard shading on it. And you can sometimes work with different shadings. So, like if you hit the number 4, it brings you to wireframe. And so now you can work through it. So if you have a box back here or a cube back here, you can select them and pick them and stuff, even with this in the way, because you can work through this. To get back to regular shaded is number 5 on your number pad. You won't be able to see the results of the next two, but the 6 is going to display the textures or materials on your object. If you've made any, they would then show up on your objects. And 7 is just the highest quality with shadows and good lighting, and all the other kind of settings that you can do for your environment really displayed to you. So that's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you'll probably just use 4 and 5 more than anything else, and 6 to check your textures. So yeah, we're going to call it an end to this video. So that's a little bit on navigating and getting around in your scene. Again, please subscribe and like and leave comments or suggestions, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.